This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, there he is. Is there any truth, Omar, that you were trying to sell to a life insurance the last couple of weeks because you started working for Prudential and you said this would be a really good in for me right now? I've been predicting that the line would get him killed. Let me sign him to this because I can get a good commission. I heard that you were trying to push some life insurance on Tua. Any truth to that?
No. The two mistakes that we made as an organization, if we're going to think about it, is not doing enough to reinforce and supplement the offensive line in the offseason. And while we thought we did enough, it wasn't. And
can I stop you there? Is it more about it was the wrong philosophy? Dude, nobody breaks in 4 or 5 linemen at one time. Nobody does that. Nobody. I mean, 3 is a mission. Kansas City was doing it last night. They put in the center, and the kid snapped the ball over Mahomes. And then the kid on the far right, the right tackle, he was out last year for COVID in his rookie year, so he's back this year. So they have 3. And if you look at Kansas City, they kind of been flying on the seat of their pants since the Super Bowl. They haven't really been playing great football, actually.
Been too good. 2 games.
No. Since last year, they've been living on their incredible talent. They haven't been playing the kind of football that really dissects and tears teams apart. They've been challenged a lot more, overall. But my point is the philosophy of using so many linemen. You know what I thought about last night, Omar?
What's that?
I thought of Andrew Luck. I go, well, they got lucky that they got Andrew, but then they didn't put anybody in front of him, and they beat him to a pulp that he said, dude, I'm done, bro. I'm smart. I can go do other things. Plus, I got a boatload of money in the bank. And the Dolphins did the same thing. Okay, you got your quarterback, but wait a minute. You got a fragile quarterback, and you're not going to put monsters in front of him to protect him? That's poor planning. That's where I have to legitimately take the shot at both Greer and Flores on this one, that they did not think this out thoroughly enough, and they did not do enough to protect Tua, considering you weren't drafting Cam Newton or Ben Roethlisberger or even Ryan Tannehill, who could take a beating. You know what I mean? He was kind of like a Timex watch. You drafted a guy that's incredibly fragile, and you should have protected him. That's the bad part.
Yeah, that's the other issue. There is a durability, fragility aspect to Tua that we have to factor in and enter into the equation. But let's be real about this. This organization has been trying to build a respectable offensive line for nearly 2 decades. They've only had success 2 years, 2008 and 2016, which just so happens to be the years that they've made the playoffs. The amount of resources used to do this and money spent to do this has just been astronomical, and it just hasn't gotten done. I mean, we're right now, Brian Flores is on his 4th offensive line coach in 3 seasons.
Although I don't blame the offensive line coach here. You're asking him to do way too. Dude, what offensive line?
No.
What offensive line coach is going to make 4 rookies studs? Come on.
I don't care. These guys have multiple games of starting experience. You chose to go with Michael Dieter as your starting center. That was a conscious choice and decision
He's not the worst player on that line.
No, hey. I'm not arguing with that.
Okay, all right. Okay.
But if we're gonna go across the board and we're gonna point fingers on
by the way, he is one of the few that has shown improvement.
He's okay, and I'm not arguing that he's not okay. But if we're going to say how many members of the Miami Dolphins offensive line would be starting right now for
0? Zero.
I didn't even say the team. Come on, let me say the team first.
Zero. They'd struggle to start at the University of Miami. Zero.
I'm not going to go that harsh.
I know.
I think Robert Hunt might be the only guy who would start for 10 other NFL teams. And maybe Liam Eichenberg can develop into a player that you have confidence in as a starter. And, you know, I'm not opposed to it. My thought is, and this is something that I've been thinking and pondering and calculating. I talk about the Unicorns a lot because that was the last successful offensive line that you had. And the birth of the Unicorns was a byproduct of you firing 3 guys a month into the season and saying, hey, 3rd-round picks, 4th-round picks, we don't need you. Take a hike. You guys suck. We figured it out. We're going to go with these old guys. And right. Bushrod and, you know, and yes, that line had a lot of talented 1st-round picks on it.
Yeah, Bushrod couldn't move anymore at that point.
But he was a finishing piece. They said, young guys, out the door, Bushrod, you're in. And that.
Yeah, but the difference with that is you're anchored with Pouncey, Albert, and who was the 3rd guy? They had 3 quality guys. Who am I missing?
Laramie. And Juwan James.
Juwan James is what it was, not Laramie Tunsil. Juwan James.
Oh, Laramie was good on that line as a right guard, as a left guard.
Yeah. But again, the young guy has 2 veterans, Pro Bowlers next to him, left and right.
Yeah, that's but Pouncey didn't finish that season, so let's you know.
But okay, but my point is, at least you had guys there that can play. We're proven we're pro freaking bowlers.
Yeah,
they're not just guys. We're talking Pouncey had played at an elite level, and so did Brandon Albert. These guys were studs.
Yeah.
At that point they weren't the same kind of studs. But my point is, that's what this line needs. I think even with some of these young guys, if you had 2 or 3 veterans sprinkled in, stud veterans, even stud veterans that are a little bit on the decline, this line would be much better than what it is.
Eric Flowers would have made the line a lot better than what it is right now, because it would have been one piece, one spot that you don't really have to worry about. And you can say whatever you want about him and how he wasn't a top shelf starter or how he's playing in Washington right now. I'm sorry, but he wouldn't have been a problem. Right now, you got problems and leaks everywhere. And let's be real about this. The 1st-round pick that you used on Austin Jackson isn't looking too good right now because he's getting space. He's getting space bashed in.
Yeah, he has not. That's why I say Dieter's the last guy we got to pick on, because Hunt has definitely looked good. Dieter's actually shown improvement. I can't say that about anybody else right now so far. And it's unfair for Eichenberg because he just got here. But on the left side, I can't say that those guys have improved more than Dieter has.
I haven't gone over the film yet, but Solomon Kinley, he played well in the 1st game. I really didn't see. Now, what were the protection issues? And that's an everybody issue. That's a tight end. That's a wide receiver. That's a running back. You know, because I know fans just say sack, it's on the offensive line, but that's not the case. That's not reality. But everybody has to do better in order to protect this quarterback, whoever the quarterback's going to be. And right now, if you're going to talk about what the Achilles heel is of this team, it's the offensive line.
By the way, Eric Flowers doesn't start in Washington.
Oh, doesn't
some guy named Wes Schweitzer.
Okay.
An undrafted free agent from Atlanta is the guy starting over Eric Flowers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe you could trade for him again.
Well, if you can't make that starting unit, I guess they were right in cutting them because obviously he can't even get it done over there. I mean, they even picked up some of the salary. And then Washington got the rest, and he can't even start over there. So that's kind of hurting. And then here's the other thing that I got to pick on the offensive coordinators for. And he's both our boy here. How I know, even though you were rooting for Albert and all that, and I'm honest about Jakeem as a receiver, all that. Hell, I was telling you, we have a bunch of receivers. Now you don't have to use Jakeem. It's a beautiful thing. Why the hell is Mac Hollins not playing? That's something that needs to be asked at 2 p.m. How is Matt Collins not playing over Albert Wilson and Jakeem Grant when he has been the more consistent player? He makes plays when you need him, and he helps you on both sides of the ball, where Albert Wilson doesn't even help you on special teams. This guy helps you on special teams on top of all of that.
And he's a captain. But I saw Matt Collins wearing a red jersey earlier in the week. Red jerseys usually designates don't touch this player. There's an injury here. But he wasn't on the injury report early, which made me like, this doesn't translate. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it was just a scout team jersey. He wasn't wearing, he was trying to hide it. And so I didn't really understand what was going on there.
He had diarrhea. He had diarrhea in a collision. There would have been an explosion, so they didn't want to. They wanted to avoid that. That's what happened.
Yeah. So you make a valid point. Should they be playing Jakeem Grant as receiver? No. Anymore. No. And
I tell you that, dude.
Yes.
Didn't I say that? I even reasoned with you. I go, the best part about having all these receivers is that you don't have to use Jakeem anymore, because you know what happens when you use Jakeem at wide receiver. Jesus, dude. And they still used him at wide receiver.
And by the way,
I need you to do me a favor. I need you to do me a favor. You need to go into the locker room.
With no locker room.
And no, but you still got to sneak in and grab Albert Wilson's pants and paint them as shorts. And then he'll catch everything in sight. Okay.
I have expected so much more from Albert Wilson based on what I've seen, and it just hasn't shown up yet. And yeah, the 2 drops is not great. I can't explain let's not get all caught up in the Buffalo beatdown, because I'm sorry, you're not in the same league as Buffalo.
No,
you're in the same division, but you're not in the same league as Buffalo.
And it's still one game.
And let's put this even further. Was it all Buffalo? No, because you were in the red zone or in scoring territory 4 times in the first half. If you had just kicked field goals, the score would have been 14-12. Second half, whole new ball game. If you had just kicked field goals. But
I mean, how does Parker drop that ball, dude? You can't drop that ball. There's no excuse for that, man. Devontae, your team needs you badly, dude. That was a huge touchdown if you get that. They could have led at halftime. That's how many times they were in scoring position. And I got to give the defense much props there, because they adjusted and gave them a chance in that first half.
I'm not about to crown the defense, because I expect it. You can't start every game by allowing.
I didn't crown them, but they made up for the crappy 14 points that they gave up.
You can't start every game allowing a 40-yard run.
You're right.
And they've done that twice now. The linebacker play has been a disaster against the run. Yeah. I really can't. No pressure. No pressure. I'm not going to sit here and crown them. Like
there were a couple times. There were a couple times, dude, that Ogba was right there.
Ogba would have 6 to 8 sacks right now if we delivered on the right there.
You're right. You're right.
He is a step slow from being a $18 million a year player. And I said it to him last week. I was like, you know how many? You missed 3 sacks, just missed them. And he's like, yes, I know. And this week we had another 3 on the pile, and he got half a sack.
And dude, he hit Josh Allen good a couple of times, because he was right there. The second it was released, he was nailing Josh Allen, and it was and to Josh's credit, and a couple of those times, it's not where he's in the pocket. He's kind of rolling away from Ogba, so it makes it even farther for Ogba to get there, and he's right there, dude.
He's
right
leaving
there.
So much money on the table right now.
But I'm you know what? I hate this. I know this is going to sound homerish on my part. I'm effing loving his effort. He at no point has he let up, dude.
He's playing for money. You playing for money? I love guys playing for money.
Right, yeah, amen. Amen.
Mike Gesicki should be playing for money right now too, but he can't get on the field.
Well, that's not it's not his fault when the line can't block. And okay, so now we roll over to this question.
Wow, you putting the line can't block? How about Mike can't block?
Yeah, Mike. Well, Mike couldn't block ever. He's not there to block. But here we go now. Are we going to go to max protection now more often?
Should have been a max protection.
No, but I mean, like practically like 90% of the time.
I mean, right now you're facing Khalil Mack, like.
No, and the other dude.
Oh, I'm sorry, Khalil Mack isn't there anymore.
No, it's the other dude, the Walker, whatever the hell it is, the crazy white dude that has got incredible energy and a motor. I'll look up his name now. But yeah, no, they've got two guys that can get after the quarterback for the Raiders. That's going to be a pain in the ass. And by the way, the Raiders have shocked me the way they've played. I got to give them some props, man. I mean, that's
good
pretty
coaching.
impressive.
Good coaching. Good front office, too.
Max Crosby is the name of that crazy bastard. And then Ngakoue is on the other side. So they got a couple of guys that are going to be a pain in the ass. It ain't no Clean and Farrell or whatever that was a monster bust for them. A top 5 pick that's been inactive the first 2 weeks.
Greg Russo, 2 sacks. Jesus Lord.
Yeah. Yep. He got him yesterday. He did.
And Jalen Phillips got 3 tackles. Woohoo!
Yeah, he played 18 snaps.
Yeah, I know.
18,
but
Charlie played 20.
I'm curious what happens if you just have Jalen Phillips with his hand in the ground as a pass rusher. Now, I'm not.
The problem is it's a 3-4. If he can't get off as it is on a 4-3 at this level and a 3-4, they'll eat him up.
He's further away from the quarterback. So in a 3-4, I don't know. I don't know. I think they need to reconsider a lot of things that they're doing. I think they need to reconsider. There's no reason that Liam Eichenberg shouldn't be competing with Austin Jackson for their starting left tackle spot. None, 0.
Or right tackle, since it is to his blind side.
It might be his job now. That Jesse. I mean, we know the situation with Jesse. It's only a matter of time before that knee flares up on him.
And he gave up a sack. That was a terrible sack.
That was a terrible sack. There's no excusing that sack. None. 0. Wasn't a blitz. Wasn't a misidentification. No, the guy just got a slow guy. Just got all the way around you.
If you're going to go down this route already, then you might as well put Eichenberg in there and just find out which one of these 5 guys are going to stick by the end of the year and which are the ones you're going to get rid of at the end of the year or move them to backups or anything like that. But if you don't get them playing time, you're never going to find out about these guys. What you do know is Jesse's not your future. Jesse is your 6th guy. That's what he should be on this team. You've got to find 5 starting guys. And so you got 5.
It's hard to defend Jesse Davis after what he just did, which is get your quarterback hurt, which is the cardinal sin of all offensive linemen. But yes. Jesse's been generally the most consistent guy that you have for years. That's
not saying much. That's like, as the late, great Mad Dog would say, that's like being the valedictorian of summer school. You know what I mean? It's just, it just doesn't work, bro.
Listen, I'm not opposed to reconsidering anything, but I will say this: a beatdown from Buffalo shouldn't be the time that you start to reconsider your whole life and start to re-envision your team. I'm sorry. How many years have you been beat down by Buffalo? Like, when have you played Buffalo well?
6-1, bro. 6. You're 1-6 in the last 7. So yeah.
So let's clean the slate. I'm a big believer in Flores's, flush it after 24 hours. And that loss is embarrassing. You want to claim that last year's loss, the season finale where you got beat down by backups, wasn't embarrassing and didn't leave a hangover. I object. I say that it did leave a hangover because you just flat out played like your booty hole was tight. And it just it just came off that way. Everybody played like their booty hole was tight, and it just
bad game. You can't. There's no way around it, bro.
It's a bad game. You flush it. You go to Vegas. You dial in zone. You dial in. You ride your horses. Myles Gaskin. You haven't gotten the most out of him. Clearly you haven't leaned on Devontae as much as you possibly can. Obviously you got to figure out a third receiver situation because I don't know if Will Fuller's coming back. And Jacoby Brissett, I don't expect Tua to play. I'm sure he's going to try to practice with bruised ribs, and that's great. But the last thing I'm doing is sticking a fragile, small, durability challenged quarterback out there with a flat jacket on, and then expecting him to perform well.
It's almost impossible to argue that. I'd love to try to come up with another side to that.
I would love, and I love Tua, but I would love to tell you that an injury fragile Tua wearing a flat jacket is going to play well, but I'm not insane. So and sure, we'll put him out there practice and we'll look at it and watch it and reevaluate. But I'd rather go into it with a full week of Jacoby Brissett. This is your team for right now for the next 2 weeks. Let's see what you could do.
Yeah,
it's not a competition. Not a competition.
No, I get it. It's an injury-prone quarterback that's injured. Why would you put him behind that line? That would only open you up to much worse. Is what it is. It makes all the sense in the world. So, do they go and get another free agent quarterback out on the street? No, not Cam Newton, but somebody else out there, because obviously Reed Sinnett is there on the practice squad. Or do they elevate Reed Sinnett?
And they got to elevate Reed. They got to elevate Reed and probably go get yourself a third arm for the practice squad, kick some tires on somebody out there on the street. But, Reed Sinnett deserves this opportunity.
Because of the rules, they can get a veteran and put him on the practice squad, correct?
They can. Yes, they can. They'd have to probably remove one of the players, the veterans on their practice squad.
Like Jabal Shear is, like you're saying, on one of those slots?
Jabal Shears or Bobby Hart. Yeah, they'd have to. Or I think they can Pat Reed, Patrick Laird, and Munson, Calvin Munson. They can do a number of things. Right. I don't know what veteran is out there, to be honest with you. So I can't. They can sign Cam Newton as a veteran. Not that he's ever going to do that, but yeah. They can sign anybody they want to the practice squad right now. So,
do you know anything about Fluker and how long was he out till or some crap? I forgot about that because I'm sure they're probably going to kick those tires again.
They signed an injury settlement, so you can't come back for I think 4 games. Don't quote me on that. So once you sign to an injury settlement, it's like the amount of weeks that you're paying for is when you can't return. And lo and behold, we don't know what kind of shape Fluker's in at this point, because if you got a leg injury and you can't run and you're already a 350-pound man, I'm sorry that expecting him to come in and instantly fix your problems is probably not realistic.
No,
I don't know how he's been training, but he's been heavy his whole life. So, you think he's going to be on a diet? I don't think so.
No, there's very few of those guys. There's a couple freaks that actually have done that, but very few of those guys that have actually.
Man. A lot of what I'm seeing now, the new trend is offensive linemen when they're done playing. Like, have you seen Mike Pouncey and his brother?
I know.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
they're like at 260.
Yeah,
and it's quite impressive to see. The offensive line reverse is just a masterful thing. I don't know how they are doing it, but
God bless them.
Yeah.
Well, they're smart, bro. It's they beat up their joints as it is with those 300+ pounds.
They don't want to carry the weight.
But now their backs and their joints are going to feel a lot better because they're carrying a hell of a lot less weight. So it's an incredibly smart move on those linemen on any of our parts. If we could actually lose the weight, so we can put stress on our bodies, because Lord knows I'm doing it on a consistent basis.
I weighed myself today in the Publix, and I'm quite pleasantly surprised. I'm not as heavy as I thought I was. The dieting and the exercise is working now. Now I got about another 8 to lose. So I'm proud of myself, Big O. Proud of myself.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm depressed with myself, but I'm proud of you. So
hey, I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it and gain it and lose it and gain it and lose it and gain it and lose it. You know how to do it, so you just got to do it.
I know how to do it. I just haven't found the motivation again to do it. I got to find some kind of motivation or something. I don't know what it is.
Living, Big O, living.
Yeah. That would help a little bit. Yeah, I would definitely extend it. Although with my luck is I'd lose all the weight. I'm really skinny. Then I have a heart attack and die. So, it's just kind of the way it goes too. You know what I'm saying? So.
Hey man, it sucks getting old. It does. I also checked my blood pressure, which was just astronomical. And I'm like, damn, how do I fix that?
Before we go, anything else that was on your mind from yesterday that you want to get off your chest?
No, I'm riding Brissett. I'm riding Brissett. I'm leaning a little bit heavier on my run game. I'm trying to figure out a way to make Gesicki work for me. Because I'm sorry, there should be no reason Seth and Carter's starting over Mike Gesicki. I know, no disrespect, but everybody started over Mike Gesicki now. Come on, this is a guy you're gonna potentially put the franchise tag on. You're devaluing him right now, which I've seen worse. I've seen organizations. I've seen them cheat Reggie Bush out of $500,000. I've seen them cheat Robbie Brown or Ronnie Brown out of money, not playing him in the season finale. But you got
that happens everywhere.
I know it does.
They did that to Marshall Faulk in Indianapolis. That's why that was one of the reasons why I wanted out.
Yeah. Is get your money, man. Get your money. This is a business.
I know, but in this case, I don't think there's any malicious intent. I think he's game planning, and he knows his line is struggling, and so Gesicki's not the blocker, so he's got to use the guys that might be more blockers and can maybe catch the ball a little bit and be somewhat of a threat.
My partner David Feronis, we got Gesicki last week, and man, when for Feronis, I give him credit. He asked some tough ass questions, and he asked Gesicki, any concern about your blocking keeping you off the field? And man, Gesicki gave him a look like he just sucker punched him in the stomach. He was hurt. And he's like, reality. I mean, yeah, he knows. I mean, we beat him up on the blocking for the first couple of years of his career, and then we got over it and said, okay, he's a slot receiver. He's a big slot receiver. Now, unfortunately, you don't need those players till you're trailing. So,
right,
what are we gonna do? How are we gonna figure this out?
By the way, Pelissero has reported Tua Tagovailoa underwent further tests this morning on his bruised ribs, and my understanding is those didn't reveal any major issues. X-rays were negative, so it'll be about pain tolerance and functional moving forward. How about that?
So basically, shoot him up and put a flak jacket on him and see how it goes.
Right. Well, I mean, and let me tell you something. For Tua, he has the label of fragile, and he knows it, and he had to fight it off from people talking about it. Well, now it's reared its ugly head, and if he doesn't play, people are gonna, continue. So if this may like force him to try to get back on the field a little faster, so that perception dies.
That might speed up the Deshaun Watson trade too.
Well, that those things are done until next year. His legal issues won't be done before the trading deadline. So that's
he's not on the commissioner's exempt list.
Well, watch Houston try to play him this week, and watch him go on that list right away. The commissioner hasn't done anything because Houston's done everything for him. They have casted him aside. They're not doing anything. So the commissioner's clean right now. The second that they put the league at risk, which by playing him, that puts the league at risk.
Not at risk, just embarrassed.
Yeah, that's the risk. That's the risk. The embarrassment of
this league plays killers, murderers, rapists.
I know what you're saying, but the whole Ray Rice thing blew up in their faces because they gave him a 2-game suspension, and then the video came out, And most people think that they knew about this video and they were, well, nobody will find out about it. And then it came out and then they looked like idiots. And then they had to then obviously, up the penalties and suspension for Rice. So I think to further avoid embarrassment, because if you start playing a guy or trading a guy that does get charged for some kind of sexual crime, you're going to look like a complete loser out there. So I think the NFL just wants to avoid that part. That's all I'm saying.
They'll get past it. Pittsburgh survived.
Yeah. If you could keep the evidence out, you'll survive, is what I'm saying. Yes. Big Ben kept the evidence out and he survived. But the question is, we don't know anything about this case, dude.
Nothing.
There are so many women involved. We don't know if there's any emails, any videos, any pictures. We have no idea. And so I think they want to be thorough about this, because if it does come out, dude, they're going to look terrible.
If they want to be thorough, they put them on the commissioner's exempt list and wait for the evidence. And I don't know why they haven't, because you put people on the commissioner's exempt list for less.
Yes. I know. It's crazy. All right, appreciate you as always, man. Great segment, my friend. We will talk later on in the week. A little Vegas.
Yeah, man. They got to get better pass rushing, no matter what.
I'm with you. Be good.
Along the many problems that need to be fixed. So we'll see how good this Flores is at fixing these issues.
Let's see.
Handling a little adversity.
How are you doing, sir? Good afternoon.
I'm good. I'm blessed to have seen Mike Pouncey and have seen his ridiculous weight loss. Mike was out at practice today. No, he cannot help the Dolphins at offensive line. Mike looks about 220 pounds right now.
Nice.
I'm jealous. It's impressive. I
wish I was 220.
Yeah. No, I'm not 220, but
back to 220.
like I got like 8 more pounds to go. I'm not far from it. I just need some time to actually work out. But Mike has shown they need to do an offensive line program of how to lose weight, because offensive linemen right now, they've been killing the game in terms of weight loss.
Yeah, I was surprised with Newton from the Cowboys, considering all the weed that he traffics. He got really skinny too, which you would.
I think he had the gastric bypass surgery.
But you would figure with all that weed he's trafficking, he'd be hungry all the time. So I'm really impressed. Now the real question is, was Pouncey wearing a Free Hernandez hat? Because really,
stop
it. Okay, I'm just saying you can't free him anymore.
There's no Free Hernandez. Pouncey's a good dude, man. One of my favorite Dolphins. A perfect example. He's got that alpha male gene, man, and
yes, he does. Both of them.
Both of them do. Those things are hard. Those things are hard to find, and when you find it, you got to hold on to it. I mean, Jarvis had the alpha male gene too, and unfortunately, it just made Joe Philbin nervous. Joe Philbin a little queasy. It wasn't. But it was actually Adam Gase, who loved alpha males, who actually banished both of the players.
Yeah. Well, Adam Gase is a head case in himself. He must have been enjoying watching Sam Darnold last night. Look comfortable and happy being away from Crazy Eyes Gase.
Listen. Any quarterback that Adam Gase touches blows up the next year. And I can't even fault Gase for it, because I think his touch, his leadership, his mentorship has helped all the quarterbacks get to where they are when they move away from him. But snake bitten.
While they're with him, he's a cancer, is what you're saying? You want to admit that?
I'm not even saying that. Gase got in his own way. Gase was his own worst enemy because of his ego. And, I said this, and he used to hate when I said this. He hated when I said this. I was like, yeah, you're going to be a good coach when you mature, when you actually, learn from your mistakes and kind of grow up. And, it didn't happen with the Jets.
That's not going to happen. Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's that dude that's just going to keep doing what he's doing, and you know what? He'll keep getting exposed for a guy you don't want around your players. Unfortunately,
he would have been here. He would have been here for an extra season if his team hadn't quit on him and didn't want him to get fired.
Well, he started social distancing before social distancing was the thing. I mean, that guy's that I will say he's a trendsetter. Like, he was like showing the world, look, this is what's going to happen in the future. See how everybody stays away from me and I'm all by myself on the sidelines? You're all going to be just like that coming up soon. See? And he was showing us a sign of things to come. I don't know if you realize that.
No.
But he's Mr. Social Distance. You met the Free Hernandez hat man. You're on a roll today, man. It's a beautiful thing. All right. So I know that I talked to Joe yesterday. They don't allow. Apparently, you only see stretching. So, any word on any real changes on the line?
It's a big. I mean, I think I know what the changes are. I'm not going to say. I don't think it'll be status quo in terms of what you've seen previously, but it's certainly not what I expected. I will say this. I think Austin Jackson is going to stay at the left tackle spot, and I think, in my opinion, he should get a 2-3 game audition to see whether or not he can cut it at left tackle. If not, let's move him to left guard and keep it moving.
I get a feeling that it's shorter than that.
It might be short. It might be shorter than that.
Flo doesn't call out guys, and when he called them out this week, I was like, you're on double secret probation. And I think I think it's by the second half of this game.
I think he's probably got two. I think he probably's got two. Because remember, let's excuse last week's performance with COVID. We don't know. We don't know. All these guys come back and they say, I'm fine. We don't know.
That's actually really true. That's a good point.
We don't know. I mean, hell, it took me I didn't catch COVID, but I caught a flu from going to Chicago, and man, I was a wreck for 2 weeks. A wreck. So I couldn't even imagine going out there performing as an offensive lineman, feeling not up to my health. But that's not even the play. Everybody's on Jesse Davis's case, and I'm a card carrying member of the Jesse Davis fan club. I'm a big believer in Jesse Davis. I will say this: nobody in South Florida has beaten themselves up more over what has happened to Tua than Jesse Davis has.
He should.
And
week.
Yeah, and he'll get an opportunity to redeem himself. I don't know where, but he'll get an opportunity to redeem himself. And I'm curious to see how he performs with that knee injury, because as I've said to you months ago, that thing should have been cleaned out after OTAs. And then we would be right back at the regular season, and we see where Jesse Davis is. You didn't do that. Now you got to deal with the consequences, which we all knew what the consequences were going to be: a declining Jesse Davis.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. Now, if he is on double secret probation, and it's this game or next, are you looking at Greg Little as the guy that they're going to? Because the one thing I don't like is we had Keith Sims on earlier in the week, and I agree with him. The musical chairs also has to stop. You have to allow these young men to whatever you think they are. Man, dude, leave them there and find out if they can actually play there. Obviously, they're going to make mistakes. They're a bunch of rookies or a bunch of young guys.
I don't like how people are saying this musical chairs or everybody's playing everywhere. That's not the case, and that has not been ever the case with any of these rookies. I even called Flores out on it, and he addressed it. All of the rookies have become starters, they only played in practice at one position throughout their entire career. Now, Solomon, Kinley, and Robert Hunt, yes, they were moved to new spots, but it's not like they were moved to new spots and worked at other spots. No,
but Eichenberg's been moved too.
No, Eichenberg is the only guy Eichenberg is the first during Brian Flores' era of all his rookies who has played multiple positions. And the way Flores justifies it and explains it is he's so technically sound. We know he's in our top 5. We're just trying to really figure out what is the right spot for him. Where do we need him? Initially, they thought that, hey, we might need him to replace Solomon Kinley. Solomon Kinley is your number 5 or 6. You can figure it out whichever way you want to. You could put Jesse wherever you want to. Solomon Kinley's still your number 5 or 6. And they thought initially Liam might start at left guard and, you know, play well with Austin Jackson, and you'd have a good left side tandem. But it didn't pan out that way because of the injuries that he had. But what he's shown you in the first 2 games is that he's a starter. Right now, I would say he's probably offensive lineman number 2 or 3. So, and talking to him this week, the head is sound, technically savvy. Everybody always talks about how technically savvy he is. It doesn't necessarily show poorly on the film, except for that one play where Solomon Kinley apparently stepped on his foot and allowed the worst sack I've ever seen in NFL history. I've never seen an offensive lineman get pancaked before that.
He didn't get pancaked. He got tripped. Stop saying that.
It looked like a damn pancake to me.
No, it did not. Go look at the damn. Don't do that to the kid. He got stepped on, dude. He lost his balance.
He lost his balance while the defensive lineman was pushing him to the ground.
He had a fat ass. He had a fat ass standing on his foot, bro.
What you want me to do, man?
You have a 500-pound fat ass standing on your foot, and you're gonna fall, bro. Come on.
Listen,
have some heart for the kid, bro. It's not his fault. He didn't get pancaked.
He got pancaked. I'm sorry.
He got tripped. Got tripped, and then they ran him over.
So he's gonna start. Where he's gonna start, your most important position should be your right tackle spot. So I'm they're not moving Austin Jackson. I think he's gonna get. I would be shocked if they did. And then Greg Little is probably the replacement if something does happen to Austin Jackson. If he struggles again, then you just say, okay, Greg Little, this is your chance to prove it. Some got happen, bro. Some got happen. Like. And I always bring up the unicorns because unicorns is the best line that the Dolphins have had probably since Keith Sims and Jamie Nails and that line.
Yeah, baby, Jamie.
That line that just destroyed people for Ricky Williams' 1,800-yard season. But remember the unicorns. There was an October 11th game, a loss to Tennessee Titans, where injured guys were filling in. Dallas Thomas and Billy Turner, and they were absolutely obliterated and lost their jobs the next day.
I remember.
And from that point, that became the birth of the unicorns. And they created a dominant, forceful line. And I think part of the reason is because a lot of the guys who were there who maybe thought they had some job security, like a Billy Turner and a Dallas Thomas and a Jamil Douglas, who all had prominent draft status.
And by the way, little did they know that was the best thing that happened to most of those guys, because they actually went on to actually play their best football for somebody else.
That's correct. There's some validity to that. There is
absolutely some validity. Chris Carter thanks Buddy Ryan for cutting his ass from the Eagles because of the alcohol issue, and that's what forced him to face his alcohol demons and then go on to have a Hall of Fame career with Minnesota.
I still think cutting Billy Turner. I still think cutting
moment is your best moment that leads to your better moments. You know what I'm saying?
I still think cutting Billy Turner was a mistake, but I'm okay with what has been the outcome. He's established himself as a quality NFL starter, but he should be an NFL starter for the Dolphins.
But he wasn't saving anybody's ass even if he stayed here, because there were still other problems anyway.
No. You know what Miami should have done? You know what Miami should have done this offseason? What they should have done is they should have brought back Jawan James. And they should have signed he's playing for the Jets right now, Morgan Moses.
Oh, that's who I liked over Jawan James in the draft.
Same here.
And that year when they took James, I was like, damn, I like Morgan Moses a little bit more. Yeah. And he's been the better player, actually.
He is. They should have signed Morgan Moses. They
Yeah.
really should have signed Morgan Moses. But
You touched on something that I talked about earlier in the week. It sounded great in theory that you draft all these guys and you want to develop them. But in hindsight, my boy Chris Greer and Brian Flores, my two guys, have to be. They have to now take a step back. I doubt they'll admit it to any of you guys.
Oh, they fucked up.
They messed up. They put a whole bunch of youth in front of an injury-prone quarterback, and that what I said is it reminds me of Andrew Luck. That you go and draft Andrew Luck, who's a tree trunk, but yet you put shit in front of him, and the guy just gets killed and killed and killed every year.
Football.
And
quits football.
And he quits football. Exactly. Now, this kid may not want to quit football, but you're going to actually push his ass out of the game.
No, I think if you bring him back too soon, and he struggles, and if you bring him back before you fix that offensive line, you're potentially going to break him and do damage that cannot be repaired.
Maybe.
And that's you know how much I believe in Tua. The durability now does concern me. I mean, we're going 3 years with 3 injuries. That your quarterbacks are going to get hit. They are.
Yeah.
And
he's not a guy that can take a lot of hits, bro.
I knew this when they drafted him.
It's a small lottery. It's a small lottery, and it's a sure thing.
Oh, look at Carson Wentz and Big Ben. Look at Carson Wentz and Big Ben and Ryan Fitzpatrick, and you get and Dak Prescott. You can name them. I'm sorry, but the list of teams that won't play at least 3 games without their starting quarterback in the NFL, we should count that up because it's going to be a very small list.
Yeah.
But my thought process is now I can't go into every season expecting to miss Tua for a month.
No, that you can't miss your quarterback. No. They had to build, and I would go farther than you. They had to go buy Tunney. They had to go buy the elite linemen. If you're gonna put Tua there, okay, you need to go buy elite linemen because that kid cannot. He's not a young Big Ben.
I don't believe you. I don't agree. I don't think you needed an elite lineman. I think you needed this team. This team needs 2 veterans because I think what's happening at the left tackle spot. Because I'm sorry, Austin Jackson did not play this bad last year, and I think part of the reason he didn't play this bad was because Eric Flowers was holding his hand the whole time.
Right.
And now that you don't have Eric Flowers to hold his hand and walk him through what's coming and tell him his assignment and be there to play as a tandem and a unit, it's a shit show. It is a disaster. And he's your worst performing offensive lineman.
I know.
And that's your left tackle. He goes against the big boy every snap.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 or 5 bad snaps a game can ruin your game.
Yeah.
So
Brissett got banged up in that game.
Yeah.
So, he got trucked. He got a Malachi crunch.
It was 2 Ole blocks in the 4th quarter that got him fucked up.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was by Austin Jackson. And
right.
You're like 4th quarter, like they're pass rushing. What did you not think he was coming?
Right. No, they already know what you are. You're their weakness.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt about that. As for Tua, I think you're thinking that they're going to slow walk this like they've done with everything else, right? I think because you were talking about if you don't fix the line before he comes back, will they slow walk this, you think? Or are they because I don't believe he's back next week.
No,
I
don't think he's back next week. And I honestly wouldn't. I think it's the right approach is Jacksonville. Like, I'm sorry.
Right. Yes.
If you disagree, he'd have to come out here and he'd have to absolutely obliterate Jacoby Brissett, or Jacoby would have to look horrible. But Jacksonville is the right approach. You don't want to put him out there against Tampa. I'm sorry.
No,
it's a huge game, but like, is that really what you want to do for him?
Not now. No. And what you said is true, because I talked about it yesterday. The line has to now feel some heat and say, hey, we can't keep getting our quarterbacks. We got to find a way to play better. And that line over the next couple of weeks needs to improve, because if you're going to put that kid back there behind those guys again, this isn't going to last long.
Win, lose, or draw, I'm running 30 times a game. And I'm giving Austin Jackson. You got a 2-game trial. After that, we're moving you to left guard. So
Right.
you decide what you want to be in this league. And there's no shame in going to another position, but we got to figure out if you're a left tackle or not. So, we'll see. We'll soon see.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I haven't given up on any of these young guys, but you got to start finding a way to play a little better. Now, here's the question I have for you, and I know Eric Rowe is looking for this challenge. How in the F do you slow down Darren Waller? I mean, I'm thinking kind of bracketing him with Holland and Rowe or something.
No, have Rowe do what he does and put a safety in front of him, put a safety behind him, and put a safety, a linebacker in front of him, bracket him. Darren Waller, say everybody do what the Patriots do. Everybody else, you can beat me, but Waller, you cannot. The only problem with that is you're exposing yourself a little bit with Henry Ruggs, and I haven't figured out exactly what the best approach to that is. You got Byron Jones, who's your fastest cornerback, but then you got Xavier, who's Xavier. Do you want to? But Xavier, putting Xavier versus a speed guy is not exactly the ideal situation. You want to put
the Edwards guy. The Edwards guy is good too.
Yeah,
and he's bigger.
You want to put Xavier. You want to put
Xavier
versus a guy who's going to get volume on shorter passes, and maybe the pass isn't going to be perfectly placed. With Ruggs, it's deep balls. It ain't nothing but deep balls. So,
but it's deep balls, and him and Carr aren't perfect yet. That's the good thing.
Yeah,
actually, they don't have great chemistry.
Remember, Brandon Jones got roasted last year by Nelson Aguilar. So
yeah, of course. Yeah, but they don't have to deal with Nelson Aguilar this week.
I mean, Henry Ruggs might be faster.
But Aguilar is a much better route runner. He's a more polished receiver right now. But I'm with you. I like X to be on Edwards because that big kid, that's the kid they went to in the fourth quarter last week to win that game. In the clutch moments, they went to Edwards. He had like 80 yards in those 4 receptions, towards the end, and they were all key moments when he caught those balls. So I would put X on Edwards and then put Byron Jones on Ruggs and then bracket, but I'd bracket with the 2 safeties, not a linebacker. I'd bracket with Rowe in front and Holland over the top.
I'm not creating space for him because that's how he beat you last year.
Yeah,
the jump ball. Definitely. I'm just letting Rowe man to man with a safety over the top or a linebacker in the zone.
Right.
We'll see what happens. It's I think the key, considering how banged up their offensive line is to get pressure on Derek Carr and sort of create problems for him. I mean, they basically got 2 starters on their offensive line right now. So, as bad as you think the Miami Dolphins offensive line is, and they're bad, they are bad.
Yes.
The Raiders have a little bit worse situation going on. They're going to have 2 backup guards in there. One of them, you didn't even survive your first round of cuts. Here, he's starting for the Raiders. And then, they got a rookie out there, Leatherwood, who's been okay so far. But, he's rookies. This is a perfect game for Jalen Phillips. And this is what I don't understand. Why not just have Jalen Phillips on 3rd down with his hand in the ground? Right now, if he's struggling to get everything,
yes, I see what you're saying. Yes,
if he's struggling to get everything that he needs to get, I'm sorry, have Agba work the other side and just allow Jalen Phillips to put his hand on the ground. Agba at least knows a little bit more of the defense. He's not going to drop back in coverage and help you, but let's be real about it. You're not having Jalen Phillips drop back in coverage either. Not really. And right now, Andrew Van Ginkel, like him. He's not giving you nothing. He's not giving you anything.
Yeah. He's been quiet so far this year. Well, I mean, it's 2 games, so I'm not.
Yeah.
Again, not going to go crazy. It's only 2 games. I see nobody in the Sentinel picked them to win, so you got you ended up picking the Raiders too. So I saw everybody's Feskis and Hyde and all of you picked. Everybody picked the Raiders.
As I wrote in my commentary, I can't pick you anymore until you fix this offensive line. I can't. I in good conscience, I can't pick you anymore. Like,
I-
doesn't matter who you play. I'm not picking you against Jacksonville if this O-line isn't fixed, because Lord have mercy, you can't protect the quarterback for 2 seconds. What are you going to do offensively?
Crazy. All right, we will talk on Sunday, my friend. You going to Vegas? You flying out?
I'm
No.
grounded, baby. I'm
Okay.
grounded. My first road game is Tampa, and that's because I could drive it.
Until they allow you guys into the locker room, it's you're not really gaining much except watching from the press box.
I mean,
That's it.
there are things you miss. There are things you miss. I agree with you. The locker room is big deal. While they're giving you a crap load of ridiculous players right now, and it's more than you get in the locker room. I prefer my opportunity to go talk to a Jesse Davis privately one-on-one.
Of course.
And no quotes.
Right.
And go talk to find out where Noah Igbenogany is, mentally, no pad out. I miss that. By the way,
you're not the only one. We all want to find out where he is, because he's on a milk carton somewhere. So I don't know.
Let it be, man. Let it be. We're the kid has talent.
Yeah.
He's not putting it together. There's something that's and remember Jason Allen? He makes me think about Jason Allen a lot. And he's smart, so it's not a Jason Allen situation. Jason Allen was.
That's what I was going to tell you. Yes, I was going to tell you that. Yeah,
he's not a dummy. He's not dumb. So it's just the technical. Remember, he was a receiver. The technical side of the position is not clicking.
Right.
And understand, he's not active because they've had to have Jamal Perry active. Now they can only keep Jamal Perry active for one more game unless they put him on a 53-man roster. That means if Noah wants to play, he's going to have to be a good gunner. And I think the kid can be a good gunner. I think he's got some potential there. Noah has everything athletically he needs to be successful. It's just not clicking here for some reason. And the question is, how do you utilize him if it's not clicking technically for him?
No, you can't. You can't trust him right now. And that's the problem. They're having problems with that.
If something happened to Xavier or something happened to Byron, I'd go with Nick Needham first. But I'd be right there. It'd be open competition. And I like Nick, superstar. I trust Nick. I believe in Nick. But Nick doesn't have Nick is missing 40% of the athleticism that Noah has.
All right, so what Omar's telling you is that Albert Wilson has about another week left on the roster. When they activate Jamal Perry, they got to cut him.
Are you serious? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Albert Wilson, he has not shown up the first 2 weeks, but he's much better than the 5'6" receiver who is now on one leg. Let's just be real about it.
All right, we will talk to you on Sunday. My brother.
One of them could actually be used as a receiver. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right.
Much love, brother.
All right, talk to you later.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.